Hello, hello! I'm Wendrickso. Today we're going to be talking about the spline system in multigame. Splines are a powerful tool which allow you to place and move objects through your scene. You can create rows of objects or procedural animations using them. So let's get started. First, I'll find a spot in my scene where I would like a row of objects. In this case, I would like to place some lamps along the edge of this parking lot. So what I'll do is I'll position my camera close to where I want it to start and click Spline Decorator under the Basic section of the toolbar. You can click the green button here to access Basic. So once I've activated that, these handles will appear in my viewport. Right now, no spline nodes are selected, just the base spline object, and so I'll hold Control and Shift to change my transform reticle into a gray rectangle, like this. And what that does is it activates surface snapping mode, and I'll just position this in my scene where I want it to be. You can see that now it's positioned right along the bottom, right along the edge. And then I'll rotate it into position. Okay. The spline system, in this case, we probably only need the 2 nodes that it has, but I can add a new node if I'd like by clicking the Add Node button here in the inspector, and that will add an additional node with handles. Like that. And I can adjust these handles any way I'd like. But in this case, I just want the 2 nodes that we start with by default. I'm going to grab the blue handle, the Z or Z axis, if you will, and move that along. We'll position this right on the edge. Next, I'll drag the handle that is, so what this is doing is it's creating the outer handles which determine the position of the Bezier spline, right? And then there are handles in between those that determine the curvature. These are called the tangents. And the tangents not only determine the curvature, but also the velocity. Which is the mathematical velocity, which essentially that means how dense the curve is at a given point. So we want these to be as even as possible, as evenly distributed as we can make them. So I will put these at about the 1/4 mark. And this doesn't have to be perfect. We can always adjust it later. Next, in order for this to work, I need to add some decorations. Right now it's set to 0, but I can drag from either my project view down at the bottom, or if you have a setup like mine with a project view on the side, that might be more convenient. I'm just going to go ahead and drag the street lamp into the decorations here in the inspector. And you can see that this has already spawned 2 street lamp prefabs for us, 1 at each corner. And that, might be what you want, but probably not. So what we can do is to increase the number, the frequency defaults to 2, but if we increase this frequency number, it will increase the number of decorations that are actually placed along the spline. In this case, I think we can go with, let's go with 5. Not 54. Let's go with 5. Now, I'd like these to be facing inwards towards the middle of the parking lot, so I can change some of the settings here. And just for fun, let's go over them. If I increase this jitter vector slider, what that does is it randomizes more and more the position of the lamps along the spline. So if I increase it just a little bit, it just kind of spreads them out a little less evenly. But as I increase this, it becomes more and more random. I can also add a jitter vector, for example, on the x-axis. And this is an absolute value. So I can just increase this as much as I like, and or on the z-axis to scatter them around. This might not be very useful for street lamps, but it's incredibly useful for things like grasses along a fence line, or you know, maybe you have some flowers along a ridge that you want to place and you want them to be randomized. Rotational jitter does the same thing. I can increase the randomness of their rotation along any axis that I like. So I could set this to 360 and they will be pointing all sorts of weird directions. Really useful here is setting the Y value to 360. And that makes them still attached to the ground correctly, but face in random directions. Again, not really useful for street lamps, but for other things, very useful. But in this case, what we want is actually the rotational offset. So this rotates all of the objects the same amount along a given axis. In this case, I want these to be rotated negative 90 degrees on the y-axis. And that's going to make them face towards the center like I wanted. And in fact, I'm going to move the node slightly closer, or slightly farther from the edge, like this, just so that we have a little bit more clearance. And then you'll see that that didn't change anything, so what we have to do is we have to go into the inspector and click this Refresh Decorations button. And that will recalculate the positions of all of the decorations along the spline. Now this is instantiating them as prefabs, and if we look into the hierarchy view, you can see that these are all still blue prefabs. It has not broken the prefab connection. So if I change the street lamp prefab in any way, then all of these will change. Very handy. There are some other scaling settings here. We can scale these in different ways. We can either do a vector or a radial scale. A vector scale will randomize the scale between these two numbers. I can also set these to be a precise number. For example, I could set this to be 999 by 999, and they will be scaled up 9 times. That's pretty crazy, but you can see that I can randomize these by having different values in here. And I can also set this to look forward, and what look forward does is it orients the object along the vector of the spline, and that's calculated by the actual curvature of the spline itself. This is useful if you want to have lots of little arrows all pointing along the path of the spline and you want the arrows to curve with the spline itself. In this case, not terribly useful though, because we just want them to face towards the inside, and we're using rotational offset to do that. I can instantiate these on awake. If for some reason I didn't want them to be there in the editor but only instantiated when the game started, I could set this to awake, and that would instantiate them in a different way, not as prefabs. And I can randomize the instantiation, meaning the decorations, because I can have multiple decorations selected in here. I could have street lamps and rocks, and normally it would instantiate them in the order that they're found in the list, but instead, if I check randomize, then it will select a random decoration from the list to instantiate next. So that pretty much covers the spline decorator. So let's move on. I'm going to actually save my scene, and I'm going to create a new scene just for demonstration purposes. And I'll create a plane, reset its position by clicking on the gear and clicking reset, focus on it with F, and then I'm going to go down here into the materials section and click on the dot, and I'm going to change this to green material. I have a lot of green materials, but this one should do just fine. I'm also going to scale it up to 10 by 1 by 10, just so it's a little bit bigger, and I'm going to grab my camera by clicking on the widget like this, position my scene camera, and hit Control-Shift-F to reposition it so that it's at a little bit nicer angle down to the plane, because we're going to want to watch our object move around. Next, I'm going to grab an object from my project that I want to move around the scene. I think in MultiGame we have a boulder, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to make this boulder move around in my game. So with the boulder selected, I'll click the spline movement button here, and what this is going to do is it's going to create a spline like before, but you can see that the spline, it automatically selects the spline, which now has only the Bezier spline component attached to it. And that's fine, because it's the boulder itself that we want to move. So I can, and in this case, I'm going to create a kind of a loopy path. So let's just start grabbing points. I'm going to move it around just like before. Alright, I'll add some nodes here and just move these around until I'm satisfied with the shape. Oops. And I want to have a super curvy path. I'll add another node, and this time I'm going to set it to loop, and that's going to attach the last node to the first one. And I'll just move the tangents so that we create a curved path that's not too sharp. Just like that. Alright. Next, I'm going to raise up the whole path a little bit and rotate it just to demonstrate the power of the component. And now I'll select the boulder, and you can see we have the spline motor component is attached to it. I'm going to go here into mode. What this does is it allows us to decide if the animation occurs only once, if it loops, or if it ping-pongs. Now, we could have like a minecart or something that goes along a path, and then at the end of the path it sends a message that increases the player's amount of money by a certain amount, for example. We can really do anything we want, and the spline motor component, you can see, has all of these awesome settings in here, or messages in here that we can send. And if you want to learn more about any of these messages, you can simply unfold the message help foldout and learn more about it. But for now, we're going to set this to loop, and we're going to set it to running and look forward so that our boulder We'll face forward. I don't know what forward is for a boulder, but it'll be facing it. Now if I just play the game, we can watch our boulder going wild on this loopy path that we've set for it. Okay, so it's clipping into the ground a little. I'm going to adjust it so it no longer does that. And it also is going incredibly fast. Now, to change that, we have this duration here. It is a required field, and it's just how long it takes for it to reach the end of the spline from the start. So if I set this to 10, then it will take 10 seconds for the animation to complete. And you can see our boulder going much more slowly now. Game development is so crazy and fun. Well, thank you all for tuning in to the tutorial today. I hope to see you tomorrow. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments. I will try to answer all of them. And thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll check you later.